Day 28 of Bikepacking Scotland found me leaving the Whitebridge Hotel in the morning and heading up to the highest point of the entire trip, basically above Loch Ness and before the military road goes down to Fort Augustus. It's quite a height up there, and quite spectacular views on the way up to it as well. The last bit of the approach is particularly steep. You're kind of coming onto it and going, oh, is this going to go up forever? But in fact, it's grand. The one thing though is there was an absolutely howling wind at the top, to the extent I hiked up to get to the top of the ridgeline to get some photos, and I recorded a bit on camera, and I'm going to just play it to you as is, even though it's unintelligible. Now remember, I cycled up to the high point through that wind, and it also explains why I found the last bit of the ascent so hard going. However, you know, as usual, up the top, magnificent views, and then the descent, which of course was thrilling as usual, even if I was also sharing it with enormous vehicles, like this one that just passed me. So there's a long descent from here all the way to Fort Augustus. I was doing it early enough in the morning that the tourist traffic hadn't really caught up with me, either coming from Inverness or coming with the other end, really until I got to Fort Augustus. But it's quite a spectacular route. I'd really recommend it. This Lakeside bit in particular was great. But I knew I didn't really know, in fact, how much of a day I had ahead of me. It was one of those days I'd set out without a clear destination in mind. But I was kind of exhausted. I'd been getting wet for 10 days, and I knew I was getting to the end of the trip. And the one decision I needed to make was whether I was going to end it at Oban and then catch trains back to Dublin, or keep going all the way to Campbelltown and then try and catch the ferry that runs at the weekend. I was double guessing myself a lot at this stage, partially just due to sheer exhaustion. And I have to say, even now, I'm not sure I made the right decision between those two. Although, in retrospect, it turns out I did, because another spell of absolutely horrendous weather was coming in fact, much worse than anything I would have faced to that point in time. From Fort Augustus, there's a great section along the Caledonian Canal. This is used by hikers. It's part of the Great Glen Way as well. But you've got, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 kilometres that are like this. Now, unfortunately, once you got to this stage at the bridge of Lochy, the Forestry Commission were felling trees along the route, and so the whole route had been closed off, and that had the unfortunate effect of pushing all the traffic, all the hikers and the walkers onto diversion, and there wasn't really, as far as I could tell, a diversion for cyclists, so this actually pushed me onto the main road, which was not at all fun. I think I did about 8 kilometres of this in total, and the traffic was pretty terrifying. It was just a constant stream of coaches and trucks, and as you can see, there's like no hard shoulder whatsoever. But then I'd spotted there was a side road that appeared to connect onto the trail again, so I took that with some uncertainty, because even when I asked hikers, they weren't sure if I would be able to cycle through, if the terrain was suitable or not, and the path got increasingly rough once you got back on the hiking trail. So this is definitely one of these I pray this connects to situations. Very busy road over there, absolutely horrible. Cycled on it for a while. Then there's this track here which is meant to be cyclable. They've put in a whole diversion, so my app keeps telling me I'm on the wrong place, and you can sort of see what the road is actually like. It's grand, you know, I mean, it's a path, and I've come quite a lot of kilometers down, but if it doesn't connect through, 20-kilometer dead end. Now, that's not a completely empty fear. I have had a few occasions where I'm bikepacking that I go down a road that gets increasingly rough and then it just becomes impassable at some point. And in fact, once on the Beara Peninsula, that meant I had to do about a 15-kilometre detour as sunset. So it definitely got in the way of my intentions. But in this one, this looked like a very well constructed path, really impressive in fact, and I was getting increasingly confident it would probably be grand. And of course, the sight of that busy main road opposite kept me going. So there was a great descent of this bit, which is where they had reconnected the diversion with the older route, which followed the lake shore all along. I think this lake is called Loch Lochy, which is definitely one of my favourite names. I think I may have mentioned this it's several days back, but Scotland has a number of places that have got the name in Norse, English and Gaelic, so it basically is hill or lake. As we're going through here, you also get the impression that this area had seen a lot of rain. I think on this day I was lucky because although there was heavy rainfall, it seemed to be moving at a pace that I was never where it was actually falling, and I was just coming across the aftermath every now and again. So I had done about 16 kilometres of this forest track that's running across the lake from the main road, which is horrible. I was on that for a few kilometres as well. And there's there's a diversion in it because they're doing work. And I had met a number of walkers, some of whom were not very sure if you could cycle the entire length. And I hadn't met any cyclists, so I was getting a bit nervous and going, oh my god, am I going to end up having to backtrack 16 kilometres or 20 kilometres or something? But in fact I just passed a pair of cyclists who are on the way up from the start, and it's only 4 kilometres now to the end, so I think I'm going to be okay. And that was a good relief. I still hadn't made a decision at this point as to how far I was going to go this day. I had the possibility of camping alongside the lake here somewhere. As we go further down, there were suitable spots. But I was also kind of going, oh, I'm kind of tired. I think I deserve a treat. So somewhere around here, I decided to stop, have a look at my phone and see if there was anywhere affordable in Fort William, and actually it turned out there was. So in fact I stayed at a hotel. But if you are backpacking this route yourself, be assured that there are in fact quite a few spots on this bit of it where you could definitely camp. I think there's even a couple that are kind of approved wild camping areas or something. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between that and just wild camping somewhere, but I think one of them might even actually have toilets or something at it. The entrance to the forest, or the exit for me, had some interesting information boards on previous use of this area way back into the Neolithic, which again, pretty interesting. So with a hotel booked, I now knew where I was headed, which was Fort William for the night. And I think maybe there was about 20 kilometres of single track road between here and there. And in fact, as I was doing this, something happened which very much justified in retrospect that decision, which is I got seriously bombarded by horseflies, or clegs as they're called in Scotland. So these things, if you're not familiar with them, they have a nasty bite, and normally you only encounter them in ones or maybe twos, but as I was cycling this stretch, there was as many as 6 or 7 were appearing at a time. And unlike midges, they're pretty fast, so they can actually keep up with you. Well, certainly they can do about 15 to 16 kilometers an hour. So basically, if I slowed down at all, then suddenly the clegs were there to bite me. So having indoors for the night was nice. Fort William is spectacularly set between the mountains, Ben Nevis in particular, and the lochs. And there is a cycle trail that runs to the city away from the main roads. So got there, got my bike locked up, and decided I would treat myself to a big Indian meal, not all pictured here, on my final night. That's the end of day 28. Give the channel a follow if you haven't already, and have a look at the other 27 days. I'm almost home.